I'd like to thank the grace of heaven and mercy of the virtues of the masters and mercy of predecessors, transmitters, temple masters for giving me this opportunity to talk today about today's topic, which is about the 5 precepts. Okay, so first I'll give you a little bit background, what they are, their different levels, categories, and then the relationships, and then even higher level of meaning and practice, and a little conclusion. Okay, so the background. The 5 precepts. Oh, you guys got handout? I don't know. I made 10 copies, so I don't know if that's enough. But anyway, okay, so the 5 precepts were mentioned in different teachings. The most basic Mahayana scripture or sutra, it's called the Brahmajala. Brahmajala. Literally, it means Fan Wang Jing, or Brahma Net Sutra. Okay, okay, and it's listed those 5 precepts, which we'll get into detail later, are the first 5 of a list of there's 10 major and then there's 48 minor or something. I mean, it's a lot. Okay, but it's mentioned in that sutra. Okay, that's a Mahayana sutra. Okay, there's another sutra, similar one, name under the Therabodic, but it's a little bit different. Okay, the 5 precepts are also important in the sense that they are part of the first pillar of the threefold practices or threefold training. We talked about that 2 weeks ago when we talked about the 6 paramitas, right? What are the threefold practices? We know what they are, right? It's this: precepts, concentration, wisdom. Okay, all right. So it's part of this. Okay, it's part of that. All right. I mean, obviously, the 5 precepts are not the only precepts, but they're all under here, under this big, you could say, category. We call it pillar. Okay, pillar. All right. It's also known as the 3 non-outflows, which is basically, you can say, if you want to sum up Buddha's teachings, that's what they are. Okay. All right. Also, the 5 precepts are included the number 3, 4, and 5 parts or sections of the Noble Eightfold Path, right? Those of you remember what are the Noble Eightfold Paths are? If you don't, well, that's okay. It's okay. It's what? Proper view or understanding, proper thoughts or intention, right? Then proper speech, proper action or conduct, proper livelihood, proper efforts efforts. You can say conduct, efforts, proper mindfulness, and proper concentration, right? Okay, those are 8, right? So the 5 precepts are the number 3, 4, and 5. Okay, the middle one. Okay, we call it the sila portion, which means the discipline or mental or sila or precept section. Okay, we all know that Eightfold Paths has 3 portions, right? Which one is one is precepts, one is concentration, and one's wisdom. Okay, so that's similar to this. Okay, to the above. All right. Okay. All right. So that's what they are. Okay. It's also for the Mahayana too, but it also is the basis of the 8 precepts that are practiced on observance days and festivals in monastic, not in monastic, in Buddhism, in general Buddhism. There are the first 5, then there are 3 more. Okay, one of them is they don't eat before or after midday, or something like that. They don't eat after midday. So they only eat once at lunch. That's their festival. Okay, I mean, they're observing. Sorry, if they were following and like say certain festival days or holidays. Okay, so that's number 6. Number 7 is during those festivals or special holidays or whatever you're gonna call it. They also don't, how can I say, wear outlandish stuff. I mean, wear like extra jewelry, fancy clothes. Some even talk about cosmetics and all that stuff. Anyway, okay, so that's because these precepts are for, well, it's generally for monks and nuns, but also for lay people too. Okay, so, and then the last one was they don't I think one is they don't sleep too comfortably on a comfortable bed or something. I don't know. So that's the 8. Okay, just for your information. Okay, so that's the okay. Then also in the Theravada or Therapeutic, Vinaya means basically precepts or disciplines. The precepts is too narrow. Discipline canons. These are the 5 precepts of the 5. The first 4 are the basis for all the fundamental rules of monastic discipline. Okay, so that's the background so you see, as you can tell, the 5 precepts, you can say it's the cornerstone, right? It's a foundation. It's in all the precepts. Let's put it that way. All the basic precepts. Okay, all right. So it's also regarded as the foundation of lay practice, which is also included as part of the monastic precepts, like I said before. They are generally considered ethical rules or guidelines, right, to develop the mind and character, to make progress on one's path towards enlightenment. Okay, so that's moral character, I should say, but same thing. Okay, all right, and it's the foundation of all Buddhist cultivation and practice, where the intention is a crucial factor. As in the next section, we'll break down the 5 precepts and what they mean, or definitions, or what they encompass. Intention is always the heart of the matter, right? Your intent to do something. Okay, the key is so it's not accidental or non-intentional. Okay, all right. Okay. Now the 5 precepts is very interesting in the sense. Remember I talked about they have 4 precepts, the first 4 precepts, and all that stuff. Okay. Anyway. And the Therapeutic canons, or Vinaya section, or which is the second basket, right? Or the second basket. Anyway, part of the Tripitaka. Those of you remember about the Tripitaka. Okay, Tripitaka means the 3 baskets. Okay, of teachings, you can say, right? One of them is sutra. First one, second one is Vinaya. Third one is Abhidharma, which means or sastras, which are, like you say, commentaries by the various patriarchs, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, all right. But the 5th precept is unique in Buddhist teaching because it emphasizes this. Very interesting. Okay, very, very interesting. Okay, awareness. Okay, awareness, not conscious awareness, but really awareness of our Buddha nature. Okay? All right, so. And also, FYI, they say each precept has 5 guardian deities that protect the observer or the practitioner of the 5 precepts. You know that? So you have people, for those of us who follow, observe, or practice the 5 precepts, we have 25 guardian deities to protect us. Okay? All right, that's what they say. All right, so what are the 5 precepts? Let's go into detail. Okay, the first one is we say abstain. Yeah, I mean, you can say no. Okay, abstain from killing of sentient beings. Very important. Very important, okay? So in the Buddhist definition, sentient beings does not include just humans. Okay? As a matter of fact, it's broader. Okay, so it not only includes humans, but it also includes animals. Okay, so we know that, right? Okay, so that's why if we are a true follower of the precepts, we avoid killing animals. Okay, and remember I said up here, livelihood, right? Number 5, right, of the Eightfold Paths, right? Eightfold Paths, right? Should I call up Eightfold Paths? Let's call up the Eightfold Paths because most of you probably don't know what it is. No. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Okay, let's call up Eightfold Paths. Okay. Ooh, this is too big. Okay. Eightfold Paths. 5. Let's see. Let's look at. Okay. Proper livelihood. Number 5, right? You see number 5? You see number 5? No, number 5. Okay. 5 types of trade. That should be animals for slaughter, right? Okay, so that's okay. So so that's the first precept, right? Part of the first precept. I mean, really, it's all all of those five are part of those 5 precepts. Okay, all right. So, okay, so it just means that. Oh, where am I? Oh yeah, okay. Where am I? Oh, okay, right here. Okay, so sentient beings. Okay, so not only the sentient beings, actually, it's even broader than just beings with forms. Beings in this realm. How about this way? Beings in this earthly realm. So earthly realm means what? Humans, right? Humans, but also includes what? Animals, right? Animals, right? Because animals and humans coexist, right? Right? Same realm. But actually it includes more than that. You know that? It includes beings in the non-earthly realm, i.e. what? We say celestial realm, and also the underworld realm. You know that? Yeah, believe it or not. Okay? So, all right. So it includes all that, actually. Okay? All right. Okay. Ooh, this, see, that's, hey, Ty, this thing, see, if you look at the handout, it's probably more formatted more correctly because I'm doing this anyway. Okay, so for the first precept, which is we should avoid, or if you want to go to the extreme, means no killing of sentient beings, right? So it's a negative, right? It's a negative, right? The precepts just means no, right? No this, no that, right? Okay, no means do not, right? Okay, but there's a counterpart to that precept, to that negative, okay, negative act, right, which is to kill, right? There's the what's called the accompanying virtues, okay? So why should we not kill? Maybe that's another way of answering. It's because what? You want to show compassion. We want to show mercifulness. We want to show loving kindness. We want to show sympathy. Understand? Okay? Because that's all part of what? Our Buddha nature. Because not just part of our Buddha nature, but because we understand, from a Buddhist perspective, all sentient beings, right? All sentient beings, so that's humans, animals included, they all have the Buddha nature. And likewise, celestial beings and the beings in the underworld. They all have a Buddha nature. It's just that they're in different realms, right? And because of karma or et cetera, they're in those different realms, right? Okay? But they all have a Buddha nature, right? So from a Buddhist perspective, regardless of our different forms or levels of existence or whatever you want to call it, Buddha would treat each one of these sentient beings equally, right? I.e., so therefore, that's the compassion, mercy, love, and sympathy. Okay? Okay, so those are the attributes or virtues, right? Okay. All right? Okay, so the second precept is to what? Theft or stealing, right? Okay, or theft is kind of maybe general. Basically, it just means taking things that don't belong to you. How's that? Okay? All right? I mean, that's okay. So, what is and why is that? And why don't we want to do that? Okay? Or why we should not take things that don't belong to you? Because you want to show that generosity, magnanimity, relinquishment, renunciation, and even proper livelihood. Okay? Interesting, huh? So, like, for example, what's a proper livelihood? Remember, well, okay, we talked about didn't kill animals. Okay, that's true. But actually, even like if we are loan sharks, or we work in the casino, yeah, even though people say, hey, they came of their own free will to gamble, they're willing to lose money, either playing the slots or blackjack or whatever, but that's not a good livelihood if you are a car dealer or a casino owner, definitely, or whatever. Make sense? Okay, all right. So because we are basically preying on people's you can say desires or weaknesses, or even addiction, yeah, right? Okay, so that's why it's not. It's like akin to theft, even though legally it's not theft. Get it? But we're talking about morality, right? Moral. We're talking about from the Buddhist perspective, okay, from our Buddha nature perspective. It also means renunciation, right? relinquishment, renunciation, right? Which is that, there's no notion of what? Mine, yours, get it? Okay? Subject-object duality, if you want to go even, at a more higher level. It just means that there's no notion of, oh, this is mine, and only mine, or, stuff like that, right? Unfortunately, that's counter-capitalism. Capitalism is dependent on private ownership. That's the cornerstone. That's a foundation. Capitalism will not exist or will not work well under capitalism if there's no such notion as privacy, private ownership. Why? Because by definition, if there's no private ownership, that's not called capitalism. It's called what? Communism, right? Or socialism, okay? Or whatever, right? State ownership, right? Right? That's what communism means. So that's, by definition, if you have no private ownership, it's not capitalism. Make sense? Yeah, right? Well, that's economics, but anyway. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about a little bit about economics too, but anyway, okay? All right, if you want to generalize, the first one deals with physical form, physical harm. Second one is death. It's economics. It's economics. Why would you want to steal? Because there are the have-nots and the haves, right? The gap between the top 1% and the bottom 99%, or bottom, whatever, not bottom, but the rest of the 99%. It's scary, right, today, right? It's very scary, right? Right? You've read economic reports where they say the top, I think, 100 richest person owns like half of the world's wealth. That blows you away. Or something like that. The top, I forgot, 100 or 1,000, something like that, owns half of the world's wealth. That's scary. How many people are there in the world? Close to 8 billion. So 100 out of 8 billion is what percentage? It's 0.000000001%. Oh my God. They own half of the world's wealth. Something's not right, right? That's not normal, right? It's not balanced, right? It doesn't make sense, right? So scary, right? Okay, anyway. That's economics, forget about that. But it just means that, okay? All right, so we have to have generosity, magnanimity, right? Right? That makes sense. And also, what does that mean? Remember 2 weeks ago we talked about the 6 paramitas, and last week we talked about the 10 10 goodwill measures or 10 wholesome practices or whatever. The 10, 3 of them deals with the mind, right? The first one means what? Avarice, greed, right? Greed. So what is the opposite of that? Generosity, magnanimity, right? To counter that, all right? Okay, so if everybody's generous and everybody's magnanimous, people need to steal? Probably not, right? Okay, all right. So anyway, okay, so this is, you can say, also arises from greed. That's true. Okay, all right. Okay, so basically, it kind of says, we shouldn't be greedy. Okay, all right. Okay. Anyway, all right. Okay. Then the third precept, or taboo, you can say taboo. It's to abstain from sexual misconduct. Okay. Yeah, they're different. People have different interpretations, or they include different parts. What is it? Let me just be more general. You can say it's lust if you can, if you want to broaden it. Lust, okay. It just means attachment to physical forms, okay, or really misconduct of the body. All 3 are misconduct of the body, but this one, okay. But also, let me narrow it down a little bit. You can say it deals with family, or that's even general, a little bit more specific. Husband and wife. How's that? Husband and wife. So adultery. Remember adultery? Remember one of the 10 commandments, right? Didn't they say adultery? It's one of them 10. I forgot, right? Adultery. Okay. So if well, let me pose a general question. If in a society, and okay, we're not talking about single people, okay, one night stands and whatnot, okay, but let's say for couples, for family, for husbands and wife, if let's say there's adultery everywhere, let's say it's very common, I think, one possibility, one outcome of that is the divorce rate is going to be pretty high. People are going to separate, right? I mean, I think. So that's a breakdown of family, right? Okay, so you can say, there are, you can say direct or indirect social impact, okay, to the family if we don't, if we have adultery, right? Right? Makes sense. Okay, so so basically, why is it that we should abstain from lust, sexual misconduct, etc.? It's because we have to be faithful to our spouses, partners, whatever. Okay, that's a sign of faithfulness. Fidelity, you can say. Fidelity to what? The marriage vow, right? Marriage vow. Didn't the marriage vow say, "Ooh, we love each other so much, blah, blah, blah," whatever. I don't know. Those of you who are married, I don't know. You guys probably did those vows. But, but it's basically like saying, it probably doesn't say, "I won't cheat on you," but, whatever. But it's fidelity. Yeah, fidelity, right? Till what? Through what? Thick and thin, right? Through health and sickness, something like that, right? And then till the end of our day, death do us part, or something like that, right? Something like that. Whatever. I haven't watched The Bachelor recently, or Bachelor, whatever. I haven't watched that. But something along those lines, right? So it just means fidelity, right? To our oath, right? To an oath that we made, right? A pledge, right? That's a sign of fidelity, right? Fidelity, you can say to the spirit, right? You align with the spirit, or loyalty. You can say loyalty, but fidelity just means truth. Be true to that pledge, right? Or be in the spirit of that pledge, right? Okay. Also, it means contentment too. We shouldn't be, contentment leads to, you can say, it could be greedy too, but it just means, we're never satisfied, right? Okay. So we should be content with who our partners are, right? Spouses, etc. Okay? All right, so it just means that. All right? Okay? All right. The fourth one is falsehood. Now, in Chinese, this is direct translate means lies, but actually it just means falsehood, which includes what? Those 4 vices of speech. Anybody, right? Remember from last week's class, right? Didn't we talk about it? Last week's class? Didn't we talk about that? What is that? Lies, harsh language, slandering. Is it slandering? Yeah, and double tongue or gossip. You can say gossip, something like that, right? Something like that.
Idle chat.
Yeah, idle chat. Yeah, stuff like that. So those are the 4. So it includes all 4, okay? Because they're all, to some degree or another, false or exaggerations or whatever, okay? So why is that? Why is it that we shouldn't spread falsehood or speak, falsely, right? As a matter of fact, this is also part of the 10 Commandments, right? Now that 10 Commandments is a little bit more specific than this. What is that? Thou shalt not bear false witness, right? That means lie. It means lie. Another way of saying lie. All right? So why is it that we shouldn't lie or bear false witness? Because we have to be honest. Right? We have to be dependable, right? If I say something, people can believe you or trust you, right? Trust. There's a notion of trust or truthfulness, right? And loyalty, right? You are faithful to your words, right? So that's what these are the qualities that, or we say virtues, that we have to abide by. So therefore, we cannot, or we should not spread falsehood, right? Make sense? Okay, the 5th one, abstain from intoxicants. Now in Chinese, it means liquor, okay? But this actually, it just means anything that's intoxicating, meaning that, get you high, get you drunk, whatever, either get you high, get you drunk, or it diminishes your mental capacity to some degree, right? Okay, so it could be any type of drugs too, right? With drugs besides, alcohol is a type of drug anyway, right? Alcohol is a type of drug. You can say, now, kind of gray area, nicotine, even caffeine to some degree, But yeah, because caffeine, even though it doesn't reduce your conscious awareness. It heightens it, right? Right? You want to stay awake, so you take caffeine pills or drink coffee, right? Heightens it. So it kind of like it disturbs it disturbs or it changes our mental capacity, consciousness, or awareness. You can say awareness to something, right? Right? So and that's what we have here. What's the virtue? Is that we have to have awareness. There are different levels, which I'll talk about later. Okay, I'll talk about later. But the basic fundamentals, self-awareness. Of your conscious. You're self-conscious. That's another people saying, right? Or actually, even people say sense of shame. It's a type of self-awareness, right? Sense of shame, or sense whatever. Sense of shame. Make sense, right? So you see people who are drunk. They have no sense of shame. They'll do whatever, right? They'll do whatever, right? Okay. Heedfulness. That means mindfulness. Same thing, similar to mindfulness, right? Being cautious, discreet, careful, all that, right? That's what heedfulness. Okay, right? Mindfulness in Buddhism we're talking about is a little bit more specific. Remember the four of mindfulness? Higher level, right? Part of the Eightfold Paths. Remember? Part of the Eightfold Paths? For mindfulness. Anybody know? Come on. For mindfulness? Right here. Number 7. Right? Okay. That's a higher level. Okay, that's more higher level. Okay? Alright? Okay, besides the physical level. Okay? Okay. And also meditation means what? To be focused, right? Focused. So if you're drunk, I don't think you can be focused. I think if you're high, I don't think you can be focused. Or, calm state of mind. Maybe some people say high, they're in a calm state of mind. I don't know. But anyway, it's difficult, right? And conscientious, right? Conscientious and responsible, right? Right? If you're high, people, they're high on marijuana or dope or whatever. They do things and they're not, legally. They say, "Oh, you're not responsible because you're high." So you did something because of some drugs, that either made you lose your sense of responsibility or awareness or mind or heedfulness, etc., or conscientiousness. Okay, so these are the qualities that we should all try to strive to follow, right? So that's why we should abstain from intoxicants, which is, you can say it's drugs, alcohol, maybe nicotine. Some Buddhists even more is a stricter. They say even caffeine. Okay, you know that? Yeah, even caffeine. So anyway, but that's okay. I mean, we drink tea here, so and because we offer tea to the Buddhas, so obviously, so anyway, but it's also manner degree. But as a matter of fact, the first 4, okay, are also found in what? 10 Commandments. Didn't I say that? 10 Commandments. You know that, right? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not have adultery. And thou should not bear false witness. Right? So that's first 4. So these first 4 are very common. Besides, in Buddhist, or in all Buddhist, the Vinayas, or the precepts or disciplines, okay, but also in other religions, right? In this case, Christianity, okay. As a matter of fact, later on, I'll tell you that it's even similar. It's parallel or corresponds to a high degree, even Confucius' code of ethics. Okay? All right, I'll talk about that later. Okay? Now, let's talk about different levels or categories. Okay? Now, of practice. Okay? So in the most basic form of practice, the 5 precepts should be combined with faith in the triple gem. Anybody know what the triple gem are? Come on, we should know that, right? 3 treasures. 3 treasures. It's not the 3 treasures we get in during the Tao receiving ceremony ritual, but it just means what? The three in Buddhism, it's called the what? The Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? So it has to be combined with the faith in those 3, and that's a required condition for the practice of Theravodic Buddhism. Okay, all right, okay. Mahayana is not. It's more than that. Okay, it's also the 6 paramitas. Okay, and the okay, all right, okay, but we're talking about the basic level practice. Okay, because don't forget. Remember, I mentioned above that it's for also lay practitioners, meaning people who are not monks, not people who are regular people, regular common folks. Okay, all right, okay, all right, and it's also part of the whole 10 whole practices. Remember, right? I mentioned that, right? Which will lead to if you do not receive the Tao, if we just practice the 5 precepts along with the 10 wholesome practices, right? Which includes the 3 poisons, right? Okay, the mind, the mental aspect. Okay, that will lead to better karmic rebirth. You know that? Okay, we know that, right? Right? I mean, that should be, we should know that. Okay, it's also distinguished by 3 levels of practice. You could uphold them without formally undertaking. That means it's lay people. That's the level of the people who, they say on the 1st or on the 15th of the month, lunar calendar, they practice that. Okay, not every day. They don't formally make a pledge, to follow because they're not monks or nuns, right? Okay, they live in society. Okay, they have ordinary jobs, etc., etc. Okay, so they do that, and then also to help them formally, such as willing to sacrifice. Okay, so that would be like what monks are, what most, they have to follow these precepts. I won't say to the letter necessarily, but that they took an oath not to break them, right? Okay, all right. Okay, and also to uphold them spontaneously. That means all at once, okay? And that would be the path of the Arhat, okay? Arhat. That's the Arhat path, understand? So this is the very basic, the 5 precepts. So if you want to be an Arhat, you have to do the 5 precepts very well, okay? I mean, so that's, okay, that's basic level. So at a higher level of practice, it's considered to be the path of cultivation for enlightened disciples, okay? So at this highest level, you can say, not the highest level, but you can say the highest level if you just do those 5, okay? Because for bodhisattvahood, there's even more, but, remember we talked about the 6 paramitas 2 weeks ago, okay? So that's in that. And actually, it's also the basic foundation of our Tao cultivation, okay? It's also part of it, okay? It's the foundation. If people say, I want to cultivate that, but we don't follow the 5 precepts, then it's worthless, right? Or it's useless, okay? All right, or meaningless. Okay, now let's go to about, there are other relationships too, okay, of the 5 precepts to other concepts or even levels, okay, in practice. So at the most basic level, you can say it's a means to avoid harm to oneself and to others based on the law of causality, i.e. karmic rewards, and to ensure better future rebirth. That's at the most basic level, right? So because, why? If we understand law of causality, right? First precept, we kill animals, right? Let's say we kill animals for livelihood or for a living, or we sell alcohol for a living, that's number 5, right? Or whatever, we're professional gambler, I don't know, whatever, we own casino, or we are loan shark, or whatever, okay? So that would be number 2, right? Okay, precept. So if we don't follow the precepts, i.e., we do like those, we have those jobs, occupation, or whatever, then we will, plant the seeds, right? Of karma, of future karma, where, if let's use killing animals, for example. Let's say we are a fisherman, or we are butcher. So, that's considered heavy karma, okay? Because we're killing not just one life, but many, many lives, right? Okay, so in the future, what's going to happen? We're going to be killed too. You're going to probably incarnate as an animal to be slaughtered, right? Just like you have done so in previous life. Now, it doesn't mean exactly the next life. I mean, there I'll talk about one, specific case where supposedly it means that in the next life, immediate next life, you will reap the retribution. But in this case, no. Okay, we just talk about. All right. Okay. So if we at the most basic level, for most lay people, for the lay practitioners of the five precepts, they're mainly fearful of the karmic retribution part. And so they want to ensure better rebirth, free rebirth. So therefore, they follow the five precepts. So that's okay. That's fine. At least they're not doing anything that's really negative. Okay. All right. Another level of understanding is view them as the consequence of the golden rule. Remember what the golden rule says? Very interesting, huh? Golden rule. In Christianity, what did Jesus say? Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. Right? Confucius said, do not do unto others as you do not want others do unto you, or something like that, right? So one's negative, one's inverse. Is that called the inverse? Yeah, is that inverse? Yeah, that's an inverse, right? That's called the inverse. One's positive, one's negative. Okay, that's the same. I mean, well, yeah, in the broader sense, it's the same, but there's a subtle difference. But it doesn't matter. It just means that's the golden rule, right? Think about the five precepts, right? Don't kill. Of course, right? Because why? As part of the golden rule, you don't want others to kill you, right? So therefore, you don't kill others, right? Don't steal. You don't want others to steal from you, so therefore you should not steal from others, right? Make sense? It's all that, right? Right? Okay, makes sense? Okay, so you can say that's another way of looking at the five precepts. You can say it's a consequence or result of the golden rule. You can say that, right? Okay. All right. Now I talk about remember the serious things? Remember we talked about previously about karmic retribution, right? Okay, there are serious violations of the five precepts. Namely the first one, for example, right? The first one, which just means kill, which is pretty broad. Kill humans, kill animals, whatever. Now, anybody know what the 5 cardinal sins are? Come on, anybody know? You guys don't know? Come on. 5 cardinal sins. Kill father, kill mother, kill what? Kill, excuse me. Buddha is too narrow. It's basically killing a cultivator, a person who is an aspirant for, Buddhahood or even Arhahood, okay? And then shedding the blood of Buddha, right? Shedding the blood and causing what? Dissension in the Sangha, in the community of cultivator. But since we're talking about killing, so the first 2, or actually the first 4, right? First three, at least the first 3, right? Killing father, patricide, matricide, and I don't know, killing of a cultivator, whatever, shedding, okay, and then shedding the blood of an enlightened being, okay. So those are what we call cardinal sins. That if we do that, if we commit any of those 5, theoretically or according to the principles, your next life, you're destined to reborn in the underworld. And not only that, it's supposed to be in the worst, or I'm going to say worst, the worst part of the underworld. Some people call it the Avicii hell, which means it means everlasting punishment, but it's not everlasting in the sense that it's eternal. Eventually, they'll be released from it, but after a long time. So the example would be Buddha's cousin. Anybody know Buddha's cousin? Devadatta, the older brother of Ananda. You know that? The older brother of Ananda, Devadatta. There's stories about it, right? I mean, you guys know that, okay? I mean, I don't know if you guys know, but he supposedly in the previous life, he didn't kill directly, but he convinced somebody, a friend, like a friend or whatever, to kill his parents. You know that? Yeah. So anyway, doesn't matter. But anyway, okay. So it just means it's very serious. Okay. So that's part of the first precept. No, don't be careful. All right. Okay. Now, from a higher level, all 5 precepts are supposed to be practiced together with other 2 components of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay? That is, in harmony with the concentration and wisdom, which is what? Proper efforts, mindfulness, meditation, proper views and thoughts. So the 5 precepts, in that respect, even though they're based on principles that are, you can say, sometimes fairly rigid, or depending on actually it has to be in harmony with also wisdom and proper efforts. You know that? So that means there is like, I won't say gray area, gray area, but it's conditioned. Maybe that's a better term. Okay, so those precepts, yeah, and isolations are very rigid, right? Don't kill, period. But that's taking it only individually and not harmonizing it with other conditions, such as efforts, mindfulness, views, thoughts. You know that? Okay, so you say do not steal. So suppose you need to steal in order to prevent somebody from starving to death, right? So those are conditions that are, right? That seems to contradict, right? Contradict your principles, right? Right? On the one hand, you can't steal. But on the other hand, if you can't steal, but that person's gonna starve to death, what are you gonna do, right? So, okay, or lie. Let's use falsehood. Lie to save somebody, right? Right. So it's very difficult. So it's not absolutist. That's what I'm gonna get at. Okay, that's more advanced level. It has to be in harmony with what our wisdom. Okay, understanding, intention. Remember I mentioned intention. It's very important, right? Intention is crucial. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, it's also similar at a very broad level, broad level, to the ethical codes of Confucius teaching, i.e. the 5 constants and 8 virtues. Anybody know what the constants, right? Benevolence, so that's loving kindness, right? That's why we shouldn't kill with benevolence, right? Benevolence. Righteousness, right? What's moral, what's immoral, no adultery, right, etc. Propriety, how we should conduct ourselves, right? We shouldn't lie, right? We shouldn't lie, right? We shouldn't, right? We should try to be truthful, right? We should be mindful, right? Heedful, cautious, aware, self-conscientious, all that, right? And also faithfulness, right? Faith, right? Faithfulness, right? What else? And wisdom, yeah, okay, so, all right. And also the 8 virtues is in there, right? There's loyalty, right? There is faithfulness or trustworthiness, right? There's propriety, there's righteousness, there's a sense of shame, right? Heedfulness, right? Mindfulness, okay? Conscientiousness, all right? Okay, all right. Now let's go to the more advanced level. So what we just talked about or described is very, I wouldn't say basic, but it's very, how can I say, external. You can say it's external. It deals with our social or you can say, yeah, social or social dealings. Okay, right, okay, right, the precept. Or external, you can say external. Okay, well, yeah, to some degree external. Okay, but there's a more advanced level of interpreting the 5 precepts. You know that? Actually, it's the first 4. The fifth one is, I added that. But this is based on, it's based on the commentary of, I believe it's Vasubandhu. Vasubandhu. Anybody know who Vasubandhu is? He's the 21st patriarch of Buddhism. Yeah, 21st. He lived about 900 years after the passing of Buddha. You know that? So around the 1st, 2nd century, AD. Okay, he's the 21st patriarch. He had one of his probably his most well-known work, is what we call, it's a commentary. It's called the Abhidhamma Moksha, okay, which is basically means, direct translation means the liberating treatise, or treatise on liberation, or commentary on liberation. Okay, that's the literal translation, and of which he mentioned that there are higher level of understanding of what the precepts mean. Okay, so the first one means that when we say do not kill, right, it also means do not discard the true teachings of Buddha. Okay, yeah, interesting, huh? So it's all internal. So 舍正法 means to throw out, to discard, to get rid of. Yeah, you can say yeah. And the second one, so it's do not steal. It means to discard our bodhi mind. You know that? Okay, that's a higher level, all right? So these are all internal, okay? These are all very high level. So if you study Buddha Nature class, Lecturer Liu talked about it in one of his classes. I think it's the April 17th class. I forgot, something like that. Anyway, all right. The third one is adultery or lust, or it's to be selfish with respect to the supreme Dharma. In other words, we just keep it for ourselves. We don't care about teaching it to other people or other folks. And then the fourth one is willfully harming sentient. That means we have what? That intention. Remember I talk about that intention or mindset to want to harm sentient beings. Even though the fourth one at the previous basic level means what? To abstain from falsehood, right? Okay, all right. So, it just means, all right, it means to willfully harm sentient beings, okay? That we have this intention. And then the last one, about intoxicants. What is that? Remember I mentioned Buddha, which is, obviously the first four precepts are very basic, you can say. They're common in other religions, etc., common in monastic life, therapeutic practices, or even lay people's practices. But the fifth one is very important because it talks about what? Intoxicants, right? Abstain. It's because the higher level means we discard this. Understand? We discard, or we ignore, or disregard. Ignore, right? Or overlook that we have this Buddha nature awareness, that we have this mindfulness, we have this conscience, you can call it. Okay? Make sense? All right. Okay, so let me talk. Okay, so this is a very high level. Okay, these are very high level, okay, understanding. Okay, because on the surface, right? On the surface, it seems nothing to do with the five precepts, right? On the surface, right? Nothing to do with killing, nothing to do with, right? Teaching. Well, teachings has something to do. Okay, all right. Okay. Now, in conclusion, the five precepts are fundamental because they encompass the basic practices of all Buddhist teachings, right? It's part of those threefold. It's basically it's part of that threefold practice. The discipline. It's a cornerstone of that discipline portion, right? And also it's integral because it's part of the basic cultivation of the threefold practices, right? Which is the discipline side, right? So without following the five precepts, we would fail, right? The discipline aspect, right? Okay, of the threefold practices. And also it's essential because without it, okay, we will never reach the higher level of practice, okay, to achieve not just arhat. Remember I said arhathood is at a, you could say intermediate level, okay, but achieve bodhisattvahood. Because why? Even this precept is part of that, 6 parameters, right? We talk about that, okay? All right. And lastly, it's important because why? It embodies components of those 10 goodwill measures, right? We talk about 10 goodwill practices, goodwill measures, whatever, which is, the cultivation of the body, the mouth, and the mind, right? right? The mind is maybe for the 3 poisons, right? The mouth is the 4 bad,
Speech.
bad 4 vices of speech, and then the body is what? Killing, stealing, and lust, or you can say, right? Adultery, whatever. Okay, that's more specific, right? So that's why it's important, because it's embodies those components, right? Okay, so any questions? Nobody have questions? Okay, all right. So it's all right. So I guess I ended quicker than I expected. Oh yeah, okay, all right, okay, yeah, all right. So no questions. So it's pretty basic, right? Pretty basic, but more advanced level, it's pretty good. You know that. But we see how it's connected, right? And it's also similar to different teachings like Confucius Code of Ethics, right? At the basic level, okay? Right? Yeah.
So I'll go back to the intoxication. It's not really intoxication, but when we do cooking, right? We sometimes use beer or wine.
Yeah.
There's alcohol content in there.
Yeah, but yeah.
You burn it off.
Yeah, people say you
taste
burn
is-
it out. Yeah. So.
But the taste is already in the food.
Yeah, you can say some of the essence of alcohol gets absorbed by the food or whatever. I mean, so, that's why I say it's, in isolation, right? We can view it from a very rigid point of view, okay, rigid point of view. So it's absolutely no killing, absolutely no stealing, absolutely no lies or no, but that's in isolation, right? In isolation. We have to be very careful, right? Because unfortunately, and why is that? Because not all situations are the same, right? Isn't that true? Right? In real life, in everyday life, we have what we call various situations, circumstances, conditions, etc., right? So that's why we have to practice the 5 precepts in harmony or in conjunction. Harmony is a better word, right? With our wisdom, with the efforts, with our diligent, right? The diligent efforts, right? Qingjing, mindfulness, all that, okay? So it has to be harmony. And that means that therefore it's dependent on conditions. Now, if we say, I must, I want to eat food because I like the alcohol taste, well, then maybe that's not good because you have this intent, right? But if it's accidental or if it's, if it's...
But it's what the alcohol does with the food that makes.
Yeah, you can say the essence gets absorbed, right? That's what we say. But think about it. Some drugs, medication, well, I'll give you another example. Some drugs, very over-the-counter even, never mind prescription. All of us had the flu, right? Cough, cold. If you buy, I don't know if it's Robitussin or NyQuil, it has some, nowadays they also make it without alcohol, but a lot of it has alcohol. So that means, but yet you're sick, so what are you going to do? The point of the alcohol is to knock you out, right? That's true, to knock you out so that you can rest in spite of the symptoms of the cold, the running nose, the stuffy nose, or whatever, right? To knock you out so that, because why? Because if we try to sleep with a cold, without taking any medication, let's just say, okay, it's pretty difficult, right? Because you're constantly, stuffy nose or running nose or coughing or whatever, right? So you can't rest, right? But the whole point of why it makes you need to rest is so that your body can focus. Can gather enough strength, right, to overcome the virus or the bacteria or germs or whatever, right, that causes the cold, right? So it needs time, right? Right. That's the whole. That's the medical. That's the medical. Reasoning. Okay. So what should we do? So now there are different schools of thought on all this, among the Buddhist, different, sects or branches. Okay, some are very rigid. Say no, not even alcohol. Sorry, even if it's to help you, to cure you, or not to cure you, or to heal you, right? But others are saying, well, we do it because, remember, I say condition. Remember condition. Your body needs rest in order to heal itself, right? So it's okay to, take drugs with some alcohol so that knocks you out, so that you can rest peacefully, right? Or so that you can heal. So once again, we have precepts, but we should not view it. Precepts are, it's true, principles are always, we talked about this last week, about that killing side. Are you can say absolutist in that sense, in isolation. Unfortunately, life is not like that, right? Right? Remember we talked about last week about Confucius, right? When he became a minister, he ordered the execution of another minister, right? So that's killing, right? Now, we can't view it in those isolated circumstances, and here's why. One explanation is that, remember I talked about proper efforts, right? Proper efforts. What did I talk about? Proper efforts, right here, right? In conjunction, harmonize. What are the four? There are four proper efforts, in the Eightfold Path. Anybody remember what they are? Right here. Discard evil or unwholesome that have arisen, right? That minister was bad, was evil. I don't know, whatever. He was really bad. So, this is also part of the Eightfold Path, right? Part of that we should be doing, right? We should be following, right? So there's a conflict here. On the one hand, you can't kill. On the other hand, you have to get rid of the evil that already exists. So what are you going to do? Tough. Ignore it? I don't know. If you ignore it, evil still exists. So what are you going to do? You understand? See, so that's where conditions apply. Make sense? So that's where we have to use our wisdom. We have to, depending on the circumstances. You understand? So it's not rigid. It's not absolutist. Unfortunately, most people, even today, look at our laws. It tends to be very absolutist. No abortion, period. Alabama, is it Alabama or one of those states? Several states say absolutely no abortion. Doesn't matter if it's incest, rape, doesn't matter. No abortion. That's kind of very absolutist, right? Very rigid. Why? Because they say, hey, you shouldn't kill, right? Yeah, we shouldn't kill a fetus. That's true. Okay. So like I say, this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? That you're not going to have everything's hunky-dory that follows very rigidly all the principles, right? Even though, yes, the principle in general, now so we're talking about general, right? The Five Precepts. General, killing is not good. It's wrong, right? In general. That's a very broad set. But there could be exceptions. Make sense? Just like the case with Confucius ordering the execution of that minister, because the exception is that there are sometimes evil, that that person is bad, evil, right? So what are you going to do? Say, hey, everything's karma, let it go, or can you do something to prevent, or not prevent, to eliminate that evil, so that more people will not die or will not suffer, whatever, right? So we have to use our wisdom, or based on conditions. Make sense? Okay? So it's not absolutist. We have to understand that. Even though the principle in general is rigid, it's true, it's rigid. I mean, it's not saying, oh yeah, you can kill and you also not kill. It's like right? It's just says you shouldn't kill, and the reason for that is because you're creating karma, right? When you kill, right? You're planting the seed of karma, right? Remember the golden rule, right? You don't, do unto others as you don't want others do unto you, right? Same idea. But that's in isolation, right? In isolation, yeah, it sounds very nice. Yeah, very nice. Everything's hunky-dory, right? But unfortunately, in real life, doesn't work like that, right? Unfortunately, right? So we have to, that's why wisdom is a big component, okay? All right, okay? And same thing with this preventing evil, right? Prevent evil, right? Right? So what are we going to do, right? You know, so it's not easy. See, we learn all these different principles, but sometimes they seem to be in contradiction with each other because circumstances are not the same, or conditions are such that sometimes, right? So abortion, if let's say we can't, you don't abort the fetus and the mother's going to die. So what do you want? Exchange one life for another life, right? So it's a hard choice, right? Or right to die, or you know, like do not resuscitate law, right? What are you going to do? You don't want to kill, but at the same time that person is suffering, or as far as we know, based on the doctor's expertise or something, that person has no hope of living a normal life, or whatever, or that they're still going to be suffering, right? So it's hard choices. Make sense? So that's why, you know, we can't just, it's important to understand the precepts, yes, but also important to understand that even though they are rigid, yes, but they also in real life have to be applied in such a way that it has to be harmonious. Now, a lot of times these, you can say, exceptions are rare, should be rare. They're not the general rule. So when I say in general, yes, the precepts hold. Make sense? That, yeah, in general, we shouldn't kill. But there could be exceptions. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay? Make sense? That's how we have to harmonize with wisdom. That's why we have to practice. We have to learn. All right? Okay. I think time is up. Right? So there may be things that I did not say properly. I ask for the Buddha's forgiveness. Okay. Thank you.